Okay, so you are welcome to this presentation. In this presentation, we'll go through the various models or frameworks used for making strategic decisions. You see, when we come to strategy, we talk a lot about the models, or because the models or the frameworks are used for making strategic decisions. So let me start with giving you the overview of the paper. So this presentation will help students taking the strategic case study paper in ICAG and other professional bodies to get abreast with the models or the frameworks for strategic decisions. So specifically with ICA, there will be a pre-seen information about 12 to 13 pages whereby candidates are expected to familiarize themselves with for 2 weeks. Then additional information, it may be half or a page, will be made available during examination. So based on the pre-seen and additional information, so there will be questions grouped into section A and section B. Then candidates are expected to answer the question using both the pre-seen information and the additional information. Okay, so that is what you should expect. Um, I will start my presentation with what a strategy is. Okay, so there are a lot of definitions about strategy, but I'll concentrate much on the definition given by Johnson, Schools, and Worthington because their definition talks a lot. It considers most of the issues in strategy. So, according to Johnson, Schools, and Worthington, strategy is the direction and scope. So the first one is what? Direction and scope. Direction and scope. We'll talk about that. Of an organization over the long term, which seeks to achieve advantage or competitive advantage in a changing environment through its configuration of resources and what competencies with the aim of fulfilling stakeholders' expectations. So have you seen the underlying words? We will talk. In fact, this makes up strategy. So we take them one after the other. All right. So according to Johnson Schools and Waiters, when it says strategy, it is the direction. It shows the direction of an entity, and then the scope where they should invest or operate over the long term. Okay. So that strategy will help the organization achieve competitive advantage, meaning to outperform its competitors in a changing business environment. So the environment keeps up changing, okay? In a changing business environment through the configuration or using its resources and competencies. And when organization is able to use its resources and competencies to achieve advantage in a changing business environment to show the direction and scope, they will be able to fulfill stakeholders' expectations. Okay, so according to Johnson Schools and Worthington, there are three analysis in analyzing a business. We have three forms of analysis to perform. So if you want to know a company very well, if you want to get a good strategy for a company, you have to undertake business analysis. Okay, and these are the aspects or elements of business analysis. The first one is what? Strategic position analysis. So in knowing a company very well, we have to know the position of the company with regards to certain issues. So we go through them. Then after knowing the position of the business, after establishing the position of the company or the business, then the company should go ahead and choose a strategy. There are some strategies there, so we call it strategic choices. So the last aspect of strategic analysis is strategy into action, which is also called strategic implementation. It's the same thing, okay? Strategic implementation. Strategy into action of what? Strategic implementation. So we take them one after the other. And this forms about 60 to 70% of your syllabus. About 60 to 70% of your syllabus. So if you're able to go through these issues, the strategic position issues, the strategic choices issues, as well as the strategic implementation of strategy into action issues. In fact, I would say you are already passing the paper. But these are the very important issues in the syllabus. So you start with the strategic position issues. Now, in determining the position of a firm, the following should be analyzed. So when an organization analyzes these things, these elements, okay, or aspects, then in effect, they are establishing the position of the firm. They want to know the position of the firm. So the first position analysis is purpose. So a company, in an attempt to know its position, must establish its purpose. So when you say purpose, you are talking about four things. The purpose of an organization is established through its mission, vision, objective, and what? Value. That is the purpose. So when you say purpose, we mean four things. All right. The purpose of an entity is established through four elements: the mission, the vision, the objective of the organization, and the core values. So by analyzing these four aspects or four elements, then it means you are or a company is trying to know or establish its purpose. So what is mission? A mission of an organization refers to the purpose of that organization and the reason for its existence. The reason for the existence. Why was the organization established? That is the mission. The reason why that company was established is the mission of that organization. Okay, so a good mission statement must include the product. In fact, these are very important. Let me write it here. A good mission statement mostly talks about the product or the service of that entity. Okay, and then it also talks about the customer, also the market, the technology used by that organization. So these are some of the elements that must be incorporated in the mission of an organization. So when you go to the examination room and an examiner asks you that analyze the mission statement of, let's say, ABC Limited, and identify whether it is a good mission or not. In fact, you have to use the elements to what? Analyze. So before you start analyzing, you have to identify what is a mission statement. To say that a mission of an organization refers to the purpose of that organization and the reason for its existence. A good mission statement may include the product or the service that organization sell or offer, the customer, the market, as well as the technology. Considering the mission statement of ABC Limited, then you go to the case study, you go to the mission to identify whether the product, the customer, the market, they are all included, or most of them are included. If most of them are included, then you conclude that it is a good mission statement. If not, then you conclude that the company should up their game with respect to their mission statement. Okay, that is a mission. Now, when you say the vision, but the vision of an organization establishes its future status, what the organization wants to achieve in the future. So, a good vision must be futuristic or forward looking. In fact, it must be achievable, very concrete. Okay, so let's look at objective. When you say objective, objective of an organization determines its future aspirations. In fact, what the organization should do in order to achieve its mission and vision. So specifically, objective of an organization should be SMART. That's an acronym. The S stands for specific. Okay. The M stands for measurable. The A stands for agreed or achievable. And then the R stands for realistic. And lastly, the T stands for time bound. Sorry, time bound. So a good objective must include most of these, all of these elements. Okay. For instance, ABC Limited wants to increase its profit. So the profit here is becoming specific, right? by, let's say, 20%. That's the measurable, the measurability here. In, let's say, 2 years time, it is time bound, right? So these elements, most of them or all should be included in the objective of an organization. So generally, a good objective should be smart, meaning that a good objective must be specific, measurable, agreed, realistic, and time bound. So when you are asked to comment on the objective of a company, then this will be your benchmark. If you look into the objective and these issues, elements are included, then you can conclude that it's a good objective. If not, then it is not a good, right? Let's look at core values. The core values of an organization portray the organization's attitude. Okay, that's their beliefs. For instance, they believe in balancing work with employees. In fact, they respect employees. They believe in integrity, objectivity, accountability. In fact, it's about their ethics, their beliefs. So the core values of an organization should be in line with the mission, the vision, the objective. I mean, what they believe, okay, what they believe, their attitude, their ethical principles must be able to help them achieve their mission, their vision, and their objective. So when you look at the case study and the core values are not capable of helping or aiding the entity achieve their mission, their vision, and their objective, that is, it means that they must bring out new core values, new ethical principles that can help them achieve. So what I want to put across is that good core values, right, or acceptable core values, acceptable ethical principles, acceptable attitudes are those that can help the entity achieve their mission, their vision, and their objective. All right. So this is the first aspect of strategic position analysis. Then, after analyzing the purpose by going through the mission, the vision, the objectives, and the core values, the next strategic position analysis is the stakeholders' expectation analysis. Now, when you say stakeholders' expectation analysis, then we are trying to know the influence of the stakeholders. When you say stakeholder, a stakeholder is any person who has interest in an organization. In fact, that person can affect the organization and is being affected by the organization. The decision by the organization will affect that person, and that person's decision can also affect the organization. So generally, stakeholders are those individuals that have interest in an organization. So if we want to undertake stakeholders expectation analysis, then in effect, we want to know those stakeholders who have influence in the organization. And specifically, there are two models or frameworks that can be used to analyze the expectations of stakeholders in order to identify their influence. The first one is what? The Mendelow's matrix, also called the power interest matrix. And then we have the position importance matrix. Let's first take the Mendelow's matrix. Now, according to Mendelo, when we say influence, because this is what we want, right? We want to identify those stakeholders who have the influence, most influence, right? So Mendelo says that influence is equal to power times what? Interest. That is another name for the Mendelow's matrix is the power interest matrix. So according to Mendelo, a stakeholder who has high power, right? High power and then high interest in a certain decision, then that stakeholder is called key player. But a stakeholder who has low power but high interest in a certain decision taken by the company, then that stakeholder is called keep what informed. A stakeholder who has high power, high power but low interest in a certain decision undertaken by the company. So that stakeholder can change things. He has power to change issues in the organization, to change decisions in the organization. But that stakeholder has no interest or low interest on a certain decision. Then that stakeholder is called, according to Mendelo, is called what? Key satisfied. Lastly, a stakeholder who has low power and low interest is called minimal effort. So the purpose of this analysis is to identify those stakeholders who have influence. So based on this analysis, we can say that the key players and the keep satisfied, they have high power, they have the most influence. Therefore, the organization must satisfy their needs as compared to keep informed and minimal effort. So considering the scarcity, or let's say the resources of the organization, they can use the resource to satisfy the needs of the key players and the keep satisfied before they can look into the keep informed and minimal effort. Since the key players and the keep satisfied stakeholders have high power, in fact, they have the influence. So based on this analysis, we have been able to establish the stakeholders who have influence. Therefore, the organization must concentrate on them. Okay, let's look at the next model or framework used to undertake stakeholders expectation analysis. That is the position importance matrix. So the name will even tell you what it is. So it is like the Mendel's matrix. It is a 2 by 2 matrix with position on one axis, let's say the y-axis, and the importance on the x-axis. In fact, it can be shown at the opposite side as well. So let's start the analysis and see. Now, a stakeholder who has high position on a certain matter or a decision taken by the company and high importance. So the importance here is like the uh, um, power in the Mendel's matrix. And then the position is very similar or the same as the interest in the Mendel's matrix. So when it comes to the position importance matrix, a stakeholder who has high position and high importance is called supporter. So supporter is the same as key player as in Mendel's matrix. But a stakeholder who has low position but high importance is called antagonistic. So antagonistic is the same, let me say that is the same as keep satisfied as in Mendel's matrix. Then a stakeholder who has low importance, right? Low importance. So that's together as low importance, but high position on a certain matter. That stakeholder is referred to as low priority stakeholder. So low priority stakeholder is very similar or the same as what? The keep informed as in Mendel's matrix. And lastly, stakeholder who is less important and less position on a certain matter is called problematic. So that is the same as the minimal effort as in Mendel's matrix. Okay, so these are the two known models or frameworks that are used to analyze stakeholders' expectation in order to know the influence of the stakeholders. Okay, so this is the second aspect of strategic position analysis. Now, after analyzing the purpose of the organization, that is the mission, the vision, the objective, and the core values, as well as the stakeholders' expectation using the Mendel's matrix or the position importance matrix. The next strategic position analysis is the external environmental analysis. So we want to know the position of the organization with respect to the external environment. You see, an organization cannot operate in isolation from the environment. That is obvious, isn't it? Since we are all under the sun, no organization can operate outside the environment. So the next position analysis is to undertake analysis to know the position of the firm with regards to the external environment. So there are two main factors in the external environment: opportunity or what? Threat. So the factors in the external environment that can help an organization achieve its objectives is opportunity. And those factors in the external environment that will hinder or prevent the organization from achieving its objective is called a threat. So when we say we want to undertake external environmental analysis, in effect, we want to uh, uh, um, identify the opportunities and the threats. The opportunities that are available for the organization and the threats that to prevent the organization from achieving its objective. Okay, so the first or the immediate environment, in other words, the micro environment is the industry. So when you're asked to undertake micro environmental analysis, then we are talking about analyze the industry. So basically, we have three main types or forms of external environment: the industry, the national environment, and the international environment. So when you're asked to undertake macro environmental analysis, macro, as in MACRO, macro environmental analysis, then you are talking about national environment, analyze the national environment. But when an organization is undertaking micro environmental analysis, then it means that organization wants to analyze the industry. That is the immediate environment. In analyzing the industry, we have a model. So the appropriate model used to analyze the industry is what? The Porter's five forces. The Porter's five forces is used to determine the strength and the competition, as well as the strength of competition, as well as the profitability. So the main purpose of analyzing the industry is to determine the competition in the industry. And the competition in the industry will affect the um, profitability there. Hence, making the market attractive or the industry attractive or unattractive. In fact, I have a video on YouTube which deals with only the industry environmental analysis. So I will not spend much time here. You can go through that video to get it. All right. So let me quickly go through that. Let me quickly go through it. But as I said, I will not go into detail because there's a video on YouTube, my video on YouTube that deals with industry analysis. So according to Porter, there are five factors or forces that determine the competition. So please, if you hear industry analysis, something should come to your mind that we want to analyze the industry to determine the competition and the profitability. Okay, competition and profitability. So when you're asked to undertake competition analysis or analyze the profitability of the organization, then it is obvious you need to use the Porter's five forces, because the Porter's five forces is the model that is the model that is used to analyze the industry to determine the competition and the profitability there. Okay, so the five factors or the five forces that will determine the level or the strength of competition in the industry are the competitive rivalry, the existing rivalry, okay, among the existing firms, the rivalry among the existing firms. Then the next one is threat of substitute product. We have threat of new entrants, the bargaining power of customers, and the bargaining power of suppliers. So note that if any of the above forces is high, then competition is high, which will result in low profitability, hence making the industry unattractive. However, if any of the forces is low, then the competition will be low, which will result in high profitability, leading to attractive industry. Okay, So you can go through that video to get the various factors under them. So let's move straight to the national environmental analysis, right? The national environmental analysis. So I'll use the next video to explain the national environmental analysis as well as the international environmental analysis, which will end the external environmental. So please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me as well. I have videos on management accounting issues, topics like investment appraiser and then other topics. So kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel so that we can get more uh, videos on that. So watch out for the next video as we analyze the national and the international environment to complete the external environmental analysis. Thank you very much.